What up, people? Got a word of the day, and it's coming from John chapter 15. I'm going to read up till verse 17 in the New Living Translation. It says, I am the true grapevine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch of mine that does not produce fruit, and he prunes the branches that do bear fruit, so they will produce even more. You have already been pruned and purified by the message I have given you. Remain in me, and I will remain in you. For a branch cannot produce fruit if it is severed from the vine, and you cannot be fruitful unless you remain in me. Yes, I am the vine, and you are the branches. Those who remain in me, and I in them, will produce much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. Anyone who does not remain in me is thrown away like a useless branch and withers. Such branches are gathered into a pile to be burned. But if you remain in me and my words remain in you, you may ask for anything you want, and it will be granted to you. When you produce much fruit, you are my true disciples. This brings great glory to the Father. I have loved you even as the Father has loved me. Remain in my love. When you obey my commandments, you remain in my love, just as I obey my Father's command and remain in his love. I have told you these things so that you will be filled with my joy. Yes, your joy will overflow. This is my commandment. Love each other in the same way I have loved you. There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command. If I no longer call you slaves because a master doesn't, I no longer call you slaves, because a master doesn't confide in his slaves. Now you are my friends, since I have told you everything the Father told me. You didn't choose me, I chose you. I appointed you to go and produce lasting fruit, so that the Father will give you whatever you may ask for using my name. This is my command. Love each other. Now, I'm a bit more laid back today because I'm honestly fatigued. Just going to be transparent here a bit. I have been really anxious these past couple of weeks because I've been studying for a very important exam that is coming up in a week for my PhD program, and it basically determines whether or not I could stay in the PhD program or not. And so subconsciously that has been at the back of my mind and making me anxious, and it's gotten to the point where I'm so overwhelmed that my body is starting to display symptoms that I have been chronically stressed and honestly not doing a good job at de-stressing. And so one of the ways that manifests in me physically is fatigue. And so just putting that out there for anybody who thinks I have it together. I do not. I am far from having it together. But I wanted to share this post to be vulnerable and let people know that, well, one is it's okay to not be okay, but two, that as this verse in our chapter in John is saying, is that once we go to Jesus, we could truly find everything that we need once we remain in him. Because this morning I got up, felt like a truck freaking overran me, and then I was just like, great. Here comes the fatigue, here comes like the whole physiological breakdown. I don't want this to happen again. Because I had like a major like physiological breakdown when I was also applying for this PhD program. And yeah, the anxiety and stress that came with that like just really took a toll on my body too, and I was just having like a lot of different symptoms. And yeah, so also another fact, if y'all, for those who didn't know that, yeah, but so I just wanted to keep it real because apparently like some people who I've talked to look at me and think that like everything is peachy and fine, but I'm like, but it's not. Like, why do y'all think so? Probably because they look at social media and see the highlights of people's lives and think that everything is going fine, which social media is not real people. They are just the highlight reel of people's lives. And so I'm making this video too to like put out more of the non-highlights of my life where things are a bit down, and so if anybody else could relate, they can find support in this, but also find encouragement, because the encouragement is coming now. this is why I share this. I share this because this verse really encouraged me, and it's what God led me to just reflect on and journal. I just finished journaling my thoughts about it. But so again, this is John chapter 15, verses 1 to 17. And if you go back and read this verse over yourself, you'd realize that Jesus is emphasizing to remain, to remain. The word remain, or some translations say abide, is repeated 10 times in these verses. So it's very important for us to remain. You know, God wants us to get the point that you have to remain. What does to remain? To stay, right? To stay in Him, in His presence. Another confession: I have not been that good at remaining in His presence and taking time to really abide in Him and make sure that I get my fill from His word this past few weeks, which is why my anxiety has peaked lately too. And so it was just a good reminder of, Shanice, you need to remain in God. Once you deviate from Him, you won't have the peace, the love, and joy that only God could provide. You know, distracting yourself and doing all the other unhealthy ways that you have usually coped with stress is not going to work. You have to go back to God. And so, it's just some of the verses that stuck out to me was, verse 4, where it says, "For a branch cannot produce fruit if it is severed from the vine, and you cannot be fruitful unless you remain in me. How can I expect to produce the fruits of the Spirit? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, self-control." I think I'm missing one more. The fruit of the Spirit in Galatians 5:22. How can I produce that fruit if I'm not in God? And another verse that stuck out to me was verse 5, which says, "Apart from me, you can do nothing." Apart from God, I can't maintain peace. I can't find, the calm that I have been trying to cultivate during this stressful time. Another verse that stuck out to me was verse 9, which says, "Remain in my love." When you obey my commandments, you remain in my love, just as I obey my Father's commandments and remain in His love. And so it's just again, following Jesus. If that's what Jesus does, I am to follow as well. And then the next verse 11, which says, "I have told you these things so that you will be filled with my joy. Yes, your joy will overflow." Once I'm connecting with God's love, that's how I'll have the joy that would overflow. And then, this whole verse is good, right? But another one that stuck out to me too, and that's actually underlined in my Bible here, is that verse 16, where Jesus says, "You didn't choose me, I chose you." That was so, I just needed to hear that reminder again. That God was the one who chose me. He saw me in my messed up, broken, anxiety mess, just hot mess, period self, and said, "No, I choose you." Yeah. Hot mess girl over there. He actually wouldn't say hot mess girl, because He does not see me from what I do. He sees me through the eyes of Jesus and what Jesus has done and how He has redeemed me through His blood. So I am the one who needs to stop telling myself I am a hot mess and remind myself that I am chosen by God, redeemed by the blood of the Lamb, and sanctified, set apart for His glory and His purposes. And He appointed me to produce lasting fruit. Excuse me. Yeah. So the reminder for today is just remain. Remain in God. Abide in Him. Don't, if you go away and stray clearly like I did this week, it's okay. Go back and remain. God is seriously waiting with open arms to bring you back in and welcome you back in and love on you again, just like he did with me a few moments ago when I chose to meditate on this passage. So that's it. Raw, vulnerable, very, very vulnerable. Again, I'm gonna also make another confession. It was low-key kind of anxiety inducing for me to confess all this and put it out there on the wide web, because I guess like a part of me is just like, oh, what do people think? And all sorts of thoughts that come about like judgment, and but just like, screw that. If somebody going to get free from this, it's worth it. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what people think of you. It's what God thinks about you and what you think about yourself. So that's another reminder to be kind to yourself, practice self-compassion, and stay in God, and abide in what he says and his truth. So that's it. Word of the day.